Hi, I'm Mike Greer, the Project Management Minimalist, and in this brief video I'm going to introduce you to a one-page checklist that you can use to plan and manage an entire project. Are you ready for that challenge? Are you ready to take your first step on the road to project management minimalism? Well, let's go.
Now this one-page checklist is from my new book, The Project Management Minimalist, Just Enough PM to Rock Your Projects. I have a separate video you can check out, which is a detailed overview of that book, or you can simply go to my website, michaelgreer.biz. Now, if you haven't bought the book and you don't have this Quick Start checklist available, you'll find it at my website on the PM Minimalist support page. We have a page of all sorts of freebies to support the book, and it's the second item on the list. Okay, so here's the big picture. To become a project management minimalist using simply the Quick Start checklist, you begin by planning and managing your first project using the checklist and nothing else. Then you step back and you ask yourself, how'd it go? What could I have done differently? Do we need a few more artifacts? Do we need a few more controls? Based on your answers to that question, plan and manage another project. And then step back and ask, how'd that go? Gently, one at a time, you're adding just enough artifacts to keep your project rolling. Okay, let's take a closer look at that Quick Start checklist and see exactly what you're going to be doing. First, you're going to start with a mini charter. That's a paragraph or two describing the tangible finished products of your project. Get that reviewed and approved by your boss or your customer. Next, once you've got that approved green-lighted project, get your team together. And this means everybody who's going to help you build the finished product, everybody who might use it, or who might cause trouble or force it to be changed if they don't like it. Now, once you have all these team members together, you're ready to brainstorm about all the possible things that the project could deliver. Now, at this point, you're going to go wide. You're not going to be constrained. You're going to pretend you could build anything you wanted to on the list. So make that wide view list of wished for deliverables. Just think of anything, all the imaginable things that might come up along the way that you might want to create. Okay, now that you have that wish list of all the possible things that you could build, you need to do what we call scope triage. You need to slash and burn. Step back and take that list. Let's say there are 30 items on that list. You step back and you identify the items that absolutely must be built. Just 10 items that must be built. 10 items that should be built, and 10 items that could be built if we have the money and time. Okay? So we're dividing it neatly. We're forcing ourselves to divide it into thirds. And in this way, you're doing that scope triage and you're really prioritizing what's important to you. Okay, now after you've figured out the important deliverables or tangible items your project has to build, now you're ready to work on a to-do list. Make assignments. So working as a team, you list all of the tasks that are required to create those must-build items. And then you figure out ways that these tasks can be broken up and assigned to specific people. Now, once you have that to-do list, that assignment list put together, you're going to be able to pull out a calendar and plug in the specific dates when a task will begin and when it will end, and make your estimates, your best guess estimates as a team about how long it's going to take to complete the task. Identify the handoff points and all of that stuff. Now, something important to keep in mind when you're designing your schedule is build small increments. In other words, you don't go off for a week or two all by yourself and just build something and hope it's going to be what folks like. The object of the game is to build a little something, a little sample, a little prototype, a little chunk of something, create it, share it with reviewers, get their feedback and approval, make your revisions, and then move on to making another chunk. So the pattern you're looking for in your schedule here, to avoid rework, you want to build in small increments. And keep in mind what we've learned from a lot of research on project management effectiveness. Generally speaking, the smaller the project, the greater the likelihood of success. The shorter the project, the greater the likelihood of success. So don't try to create some gigantic, complicated effort. Break that big effort into a bunch of smaller projects, and you'll be much more likely to succeed. Okay, so you've got your mini charter approved, you pulled your team together, you brainstormed about all the possible deliverables, done your scope triage, and now you've got your to-do list and your schedule together. What do you do next? Well, you get started. It's time to simply do the tasks as described in the schedules. And what you as project manager or project team leader want to do is continually along the way ask yourself, are the must-build items moving along on time? Are they coming to life? Are the must-build items of a high enough quality to meet our specs? Is everybody doing what they promised? Do people need more help or obstacles removed in some way? What can I do to get things out of my team's way? And what do we have to correct to finish the project on time? And finally, once you complete all of those tasks that are on your to-do list and your project deliverables are all created and the project's finished, don't just walk away. Step back and do a quick post-mortem. Ask yourself, what could we have done better? What could we have done differently? In other words, come up with some lessons learned. So now you've pretty much worked your way through an entire project PM Minimalist fashion. So the object of the game is to step back and ask yourself, what's just enough PM for us? Should I be dropping some things? Or should I be changing or adding some processes or tools? For example, should I be expanding that mini charter? Should I have a needs analysis, a market analysis, or some other justifying documents to support it better? Should I have an expanded work breakdown structure, a more formalized work breakdown structure, or should I have a more formalized charter or proposal with specific detailed justifications in it? Also, you might consider enhancing your team controls through the use of a responsibility accountability chart, a unique project org chart, written descriptions of team members' roles and specific ways that they're empowered to make decisions and work within their jobs. Was it clear how sign-off and closure was attained? And would it have made sense to have a kickoff meeting where we clarified all this stuff? This is an example of a responsibility accountability matrix from the book, and you'll see that you have the tasks listed, you have the people performing the task listed on a grid, and then in each cell you use an initial describing whether that person is accountable, responsible, simply providing input, maybe just reviewing, and so forth. Then you could ask yourself, could I have improved my task list and my schedules in any way? Would maybe a more formalized approach to estimating effort and duration by resource have helped? Or some of these other tools, should I have made formal project lifecycle descriptions or maybe graphic depictions of the workflow using network diagrams, Gantt charts, and that sort of thing? Here are some examples of some of those enhancements we were just talking about. Press pause if you want to study them, but know that they're also in the Project Management Minimalist book. This is an example of a effort duration table. Now here's an example of a graphic showing the project lifecycle for an information technology project. All the little tasks aren't shown, but the tasks are clustered into larger phases so you can really get a grasp of how things unfold. Here's a home construction project, same thing, where you've hundreds of tasks have been rolled up into phases so you can see the logical evolution of the project. So the object of the game is to let your team's deliverables determine your project's life cycles. So you would come up with your own unique life cycle. Would your project have benefited by a Gantt chart? How about a network diagram or some other way of depicting the workflow and the schedule? Well, some other things you might consider to enhance your management controls include creating and monitoring a cost estimate, more formal review meetings, formal sign-offs, formal handoff deliverables being planned, and maybe even client and end user training. To review, to become a project management minimalist, you start with the Minimalist Quick Start Checklist. Plan and manage a project. Step back at the end of that project and say, how'd it go? Then add just enough additional artifacts and controls to fix problems. Then plan and manage your next project. Repeat the process and always challenge complexity. The object of the game is to remove project management complexity for its own sake. To learn more about project management minimalism, go to my website, michaelgreer.biz. At the PM Minimalist freebies section, you'll find links to all the stuff we talked about here, as well as other videos and podcasts. Thanks for watching.